You don't spend 31 years in this real estate sales business without learning a few things. And what I want to do today is I'm going to share my experience as a sales professional, as someone who ran a team, someone who was the CEO of a major company, as well as someone who owned my own brokerage, some of the things that I learned along the way. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to boil down 31 years of experience into a couple brutally honest truths that I know are going to help you do more business. The first truth that I found is that it's not about you. The market could care less about what your needs are. It could really care less about your awards. It really is focused in, and most buyers and sellers are focused in on what's in it for me. So when you can get yourself out of the way and you can begin to focus in on the things that are most important to buyers and sellers, everything begins to change. So let's give a couple of examples of this. A lot of times what we see on social media is we'll see people talking about another one sold. We'll talk about I'm number one. Look, you can move the numbers however you want. In reality, the buyers and sellers literally could care less about those things, and what they're more worried about is can you help them find a home that they want? Can you help them negotiate it at a price that makes sense? And also, what is it that you can do for sellers that helps them market their home in a way that helps them sell it faster and for the highest price possible? So when you're thinking about your marketing, think about what it is that's important to the buyers and to the sellers, and you'll absolutely start getting better results. The second truth I found is that this business responds to effort. It's not about what you want. It's not about what you need. It's about what you do. What is it that you're doing on a daily basis to bring value to the marketplace? And by bringing that value to the marketplace, that the market will actually respond and reward you for that effort. So a couple of things here. I want you to think and begin to focus on what is the process that you can do on a daily basis, something that gets systematic. So what could that be? A lot of things that are happening right now is a lot of the communication we're seeing is through the DMs on social media. It's where actually we're seeing relationships deepen. It's where we're seeing conversations happen. So when I grew up in the business, a lot of it was just banging the phones. Let me just say this. Conversations are important. Without having conversations, you can't have conversion. But where do you start the conversation that continues to build the relationship that does those things? I've actually got and am encouraging agents to have on their daily schedules 10 DMs. In other words, spend some time. You're going to spend some time on social media. I got it yesterday where it gives me my weekly rundown, and it said I spent 8 hours a day on average on social media. Now that is scary. Now I have to believe that includes obviously all of my YouTube time when I'm traveling. It's all my podcasts. It's the time that I'm deadly scrolling at night, which I hate to admit, but it's actually a portion of that is specifically targeting what are the opportunities that I see in the marketplace. Now, you can use Instagram to add a best friends list or a friends group where you'll begin to see their posts more often. I like to make a list of my 30 biggest prospects. I would encourage you to do the same thing. Who are the hottest buyers you've got? Who are the hottest sellers or the next listings that you're going to take? Make a list of those folks and be specific and targeted on going on and commenting on their post on social media, and also, when appropriate, sending them some DMs with questions or congratulations that's a little more personal than before. This is the new way. And what we're finding is that effort is rewarded. So whatever it is you're doing, the business could care less what you want or need. It is going to respond to the effort that you put in, and you'll begin to see some different results. The third truth is that reps remove doubt. Now, listen, a lot of times what will happen when I was a newer agent, I wasn't as experienced, and I would actually spend a lot of my time practicing on prospects. In other words, I would walk into a listing appointment, and it'd be the first time that I'd given a listing appointment in a certain way. Or maybe I was talking to a buyer prospect, and I'd done no script training. I'd done no role playing, and I was actually spending time learning the business by practicing on the prospects. Now, what I would encourage you to do is look, the more reps you get, the faster you're going to get confident, the better you're going to be able to respond. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. For me, the way that I did it was I just banged the phone. I had conversations. I was out in the marketplace doing the work. Now, what you can do is find someone that you can have as an accountability partner, someone that will actually do some role playing with you so that you don't have to spend that time on the prospects learning the process. Now, what I would encourage you to do is don't slow down on the number of calls. If you're going to do prep and you're going to do some role playing, make sure that the amount of role playing you do is doubled by the amount of time you spend actually on the field. Now, I was someone who had an opportunity to play college golf. And now what we did is we spent a lot of time on the range. But for me, I could only spend so much time on the range. I had to be out reacting to what happened on the course in the game, so to speak. So I don't want you to get frozen in the practice and not get out there and make the calls. Make the calls, but be prepared as much as you can before. Do the reps, and I promise the confidence is going to come. Number 4 is it's simply a numbers game. The person who has the most real estate related conversations will win every time. Now, I'll just put it this way. I've been doing this 31 years. Odds are if I make a certain number of calls and have a certain number of conversations, mine may be in the 30 range, that I'll have 31, 32 real estate related conversations for one transaction. Yours may be, if you're newer or maybe you're kind of growing in the business, it may be 50, it may be 60 conversations before you generate a real estate transaction. What I love about real estate is it's an even playing field. Everybody has the same opportunities. If you're a newer agent and it takes you 60 conversations to generate one transaction, and it takes me 30 as a 30-year veteran, 30 real estate related conversations to get one transaction. If I only make 30, and over the week you make 120 conversations, you're going to outperform me. You're on an even playing field. The question is are you going to put the effort in to generate those things? And I'll promise you, if you have 120 real estate related conversations, the 120th one is going to be way better than the 10th one. You're going to continue to refine and get better. And every conversation you have, those numbers begin to go down and you get on an even playing field, even with the most experienced agents out there. So what I want to encourage you to do is to understand this. It is a numbers game. Simply to spend the time, have the real estate related conversation, and you will get the results. Next up is association is everything. Who are you spending time with? Are you spending time or are you studying those that are doing this better than you? Now look, it doesn't necessarily have to be the highest producing person. Maybe it's somebody that's just a couple deals ahead of you, somebody that's a little bit further along. I would encourage you, ask those folks to spend some time. Go to lunch with some of these folks. Spend some time asking them the questions about what they would do if they were in your position or what they learned when they were at your position in the business. Also, think about it this way. Who is it that you're listening to? Spend time with coaches, with trainers, with people that have the experience, that are speaking from a place of experience and not from theory. Who is it that you're watching on YouTube? Who is it that you're spending time in masterminds with? Listen, if you're looking for masterminds, just send me a direct message. I have masterminds about every 2 weeks that I have open for agents where they can jump in and be a part of this and hear some of the industry leaders share the best ideas possible. Everything begins and everything ends with the association you have. Make sure that you're at a place and you're around the people that are inspiring you to be more and better at this craft. And I promise what you're going to see is you're going to see your business begin to grow and you're going to drift towards the people you're spending time with. Next up is things won't change unless you change. Now, sometimes this is subtle, just small little changes we make in our schedule or the number of calls we make. Sometimes it's large scale changes. Sometimes it's that we have to understand that if we're going to see some of these things change, we've got to start with changing ourselves. So what is it that you're doing to invest in yourself as far as the books you're reading, the videos you're consuming, as far as training, as far as education on how to do this business better? What is it that you're doing as far as preparing yourself to be able to serve your clients at a higher level? Those are some of those changes that when you start that, it begins to build a little bit of momentum. The other thing you have to think about is you have to change sometimes the people that you're associating with. Are the people around you inspiring you to become better and more of who you're created to be to serve your clients to the highest level, or are they dragging you down? You have to surround yourself with the right people. And in order for things to change, first you've got to change. The 7th point is you have to double down on what's working. Understand, there's certain things we do in our business, especially things change over time. What is it that's working right now for you? Now, if you can take the time and you'll break down what have you been getting results from? I like to do it this way. I like to go back over the last 6 to 12 months, see the transactions I've had, identify what was the main way that I generated the first conversation with those folks, and how did I move it along and nurture them to a point where we got to a transaction. You see, when you study what's been working, and you begin to eliminate the things that aren't working and you double down on what's actually working right now, you double down on the results you begin to receive. It's a simple process. What is it that's working? Do more of that. What is not working? Do less of that, and you'll change the results you've been getting and you'll begin to see momentum building. The 8th truth that I found is that breakthrough happens through consistency. What is it that you're doing every single day that you trust and know is going to work? Listen, I've never seen somebody break through because one day they decided they were going to have 50 conversations and all of a sudden it broke through and they never had to worry about this anymore. No, what happens when people do these times where they have these spurts of activity and then they stop because they're trying to process the closings. They're trying to generate new leads. It's a roller coaster effect. What happens though is when you find something that's working, we were just talking about doubling down on what works. When you're consistent with that, every single day you have a certain number of conversations. Every single day you have a certain number of people that you're DMing or that you're developing relationship with. Every single day you're doing an unsolicited CMA, whatever it is for you. When you get consistent with the things that you're doing on a daily basis that are working and you do it over time, that's when breakthrough happens. The ninth thing is that market share is gained during difficult times. Now, think about where we are today. If you've been in the business for 4 or 5 years, the market is different right now. It's more difficult. It takes more showing more properties than it used to get one under contract. It takes more time to spend with someone to get them comfortable to make an offer. And then going through the process of getting it to closing, it's a lot more difficult than it used to be. But it will be worth it because this is the time when it gets tough that most people quit. This is the time when it gets tough that most people pull back. And when you're somebody that leans in when it's difficult, you're someone who's going to gain market share that you don't even realize is happening. You see, if the market's reducing 15, 20% in transactions in a lot of markets across the country right now, and you're doing the same amount of business as you did last year, or you're even doing more business than you did last year, you have no idea what's coming. It's not a matter of if, but when will this market turn around? And it's the people that stay focused, stay consistent during the tough times, that gain the market share that shows up in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now in a way they can't even imagine. So if you're someone that is seeing just flatlined your business, or it's very similar to what it was last year, but transactions are down, or maybe you're seeing just a little bit of growth and you're wondering, what's happening? I just don't feel like I'm growing. Trust the process. You are actually gaining market share and you don't even realize it. I have been through this a number of different times, so I'm telling you not what I think, I'm telling you what I know. If you'll stay consistent right now, that amount of measured growth that you're feeling right now is going to be exponentially bigger in the future. You're going to see a future that is completely different in the next year, 2 years when this market begins to turn around, and you can't even imagine how much that is going to compound over time. You can't control the results, but you can control the effort. So there's going to be certain times of year, certain times of the economic cycle where your efforts are going to feel like they're not generating results. You can't control the results. What you can control, though, is the amount of activities that you're doing. And you can control the way that you trust the process. Let me just put it to you this way. There are certain times of year, the winter, for instance, in some markets, where it doesn't matter how many calls you make, it's going to be difficult. But what you're doing is you're planting seeds for the spring. There's going to be certain times when the economic cycle is more difficult and maybe listings sit out there longer, or it's more difficult to find a perfect house for a buyer. When those seasons are happening, if you just keep planting the seeds, you will have a harvest you can't imagine. Again, focus in on the daily activities, not the results. Focus in on what you do consistently, not on the results. And when you focus in on those daily activities and you focus in on the things you can control, the results will come. They typically never come in the timing you want, but they will absolutely come as long as you stay focused on doing the daily activities in your business. Last but not least, there is a cost for anything worth having. Now, anything that comes easy is probably going to leave just as fast as it came. So understand, is this business hard? Absolutely it's hard. Will there be times that you'll ask yourself, am I really supposed to stay in this business or not? Absolutely. The question becomes, is this the business you want to be in? And are the results of doing this business and pushing through those difficult times going to be worth it? And I can tell you from a personal perspective, they will absolutely be worth it. Here's the thing. You have to understand. There will be seasons in your business where it's more difficult. This is one of those seasons in a lot of cases. There will be seasons where it's harder to get a transaction closed. In a lot of cases and in a lot of markets, this is that season. But there will also be times when this business is easier and you will get results that are far beyond anything that you've worked for. The key is to stay consistent during these times when it's most difficult and understand that the results will absolutely come. Listen, if it was easy, everybody'd do it. It's not easy, and that's why you see certain people do better than others in this business. You're one of those people. Stay consistent, stay focused, keep doing the hard work, and I promise you're going to get the results. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.